Some faces feel wrong. Not monstrous, not alien, but just close enough to human to send a shiver through you. You know it the instant you see it. Something is off. And before your mind can explain what's wrong, your body has already decided, this isn't right. Psychologists call it the uncanny valley. It's a deep instinctive reaction to things that look human but aren't. But why would we have evolved such a powerful response to almost human faces? After all, our ancestors didn't share their world with robots or computer-generated characters. Our brains were shaped in a far older, harsher reality, a world of predators, prey, and other creatures that sometimes looked a little too much like us. What if this eerie reaction is a leftover from a time when the Earth was home to more than just Homo sapiens? A time when other human-like species walked the same paths, drank from the same rivers, and sometimes competed for the same food. Some of them we lived alongside, some we interbred with, and others we feared. Maybe the uncanny valley isn't just a strange modern quirk. Maybe it's a survival mechanism with roots deep in prehistory. The term uncanny valley was first coined in the 1970s by Japanese roboticist Masahiro Mori. He noticed something curious. When a robot looked somewhat human, people liked it more. But as it became almost indistinguishable from a real person, something shifted. That empathy turned into discomfort, even fear. The robot was too human, yet not quite right. The same reaction happened with wax figures, prosthetics, or animated characters that didn't perfectly mimic life. One moment, you're looking at a friendly imitation. The next, your instincts are screaming. And you don't need to think about it. It's instant, buried somewhere deep in your brain. The question is, why would this exist at all? Strong instincts like this don't appear out of nowhere. They evolve because they once kept our ancestors alive. Think about our fear of snakes. Even young primates who have never seen a snake before will show signs of stress when shown a vaguely snake-like shape. For millions of years, that fear saved lives. Could the uncanny valley work the same way? An ancient defense mechanism, not against predators like snakes, but against other kinds of humans?
The idea makes sense when you consider that for most of our history, we weren't alone. Homo sapiens appeared in a world already populated by other human species. Our own ancestors, long before we appeared, lived side by side with them. And for much of that time, we weren't the dominant species. In fact, early humans often found themselves as prey. Imagine living in Africa 2 million years ago as Homo erectus. You face not just lions, but massive saber-toothed cats, territorial hippos, and packs of hyenas. Survival meant constant vigilance. But the threats didn't always come from animals. Some of the most unsettling encounters would have been with other hominins, creatures close enough to look like kin from a distance, but different enough to trigger caution. Early Homo erectus may have met Homo habilis and Homo rudolfensis, species with smaller brains, different body proportions, and unfamiliar expressions. Mistaking them for your own group could be dangerous, maybe even fatal. And then there were the Australopithecines, smaller-bodied and strange-looking, with chimp-sized brains but fully upright posture. Picture resting after a hunt, watching your children play, only to spot a thin, quick-moving figure luring one of them away. In seconds, it disappears into the trees, and you realize you've just seen a predator that looks disturbingly human. Some of these species may have preyed on our young. Others, like Paranthropus, were likely harmless plant eaters with massive jaws and strange skull shapes, but their presence would still have been eerie. They stood upright, they had human-like hands, but they weren't us. Even the ancestors of today's chimpanzees and gorillas, who now seem shy around people, were once likely bold, aggressive, and unafraid to challenge our kind.
When we finally left Africa, the faces grew stranger still. In the cold north, we met the Neanderthals. They were powerfully built, with broad noses and heavy brows, and they were intelligent toolmakers. Sometimes, we fought them for resources. Other times, we mated with them. They were close enough to us that their DNA still flows through our blood today,
though in small amounts. On average, Europeans carry less than 2% Neanderthal DNA, while Asians carry slightly more. In Asia, we encountered another cousin, the Denisovans, known first from a single finger bone and a few teeth. Only recently did we uncover part of a skull to give their face a shape. They too left their genetic fingerprints in modern humans. And then there were the hobbits of Indonesia, Homo floresiensis, barely over a meter tall, and Homo luzonensis in the Philippines, small in size, but big in mystery. So if the uncanny valley was a survival instinct against other kinds of humans, why did we also feel drawn to them enough to interbreed? It's possible the reaction wasn't pure fear. It may have been a mix of caution and curiosity. Some researchers believe this instinct may have evolved for several reasons. The first is disease avoidance. In a world without medicine, illness could wipe out an entire group in days. Outsiders might carry unfamiliar pathogens. Ancient humans may have learned to spot even subtle signs of sickness: pale skin, unusual movements, odd facial expressions, and instinctively avoid them. Another theory is corpse recognition. A dead body is still recognizably human, but something about it is wrong. Skin too pale, muscles slack, movements absent. Detecting death quickly could save you from disease or predators lurking nearby. Horror films often play on this, using lifeless eyes and unnatural movement to tap into that ancient fear.
And then there's the idea of enemy recognition. For much of our history, danger didn't just come from lions or leopards. It came from other humans. Rival bands of Homo sapiens could be as deadly as any predator. And other human species, like Neanderthals or late-surviving Homo erectus, might have been even harder to judge at first glance. The uncanny valley may have been our brain's rapid warning system, scanning a face and deciding instantly, friend, mate, or threat. In a world where hesitation could mean death, that instinct would have been priceless. But here's the darker possibility. Maybe this instinct didn't just help us survive. It helped us eliminate every other human species we ever met. Everywhere our ancestors went, the locals vanished. Neanderthals, Denisovans, hobbits, they're all gone now. We bred with them occasionally, but perhaps more often, we treated them as competition to be removed. That deep, uneasy feeling we get from an almost human face might be a fossil of that ancient hostility. Today, we no longer share the world with other human species. Most of us will never fight for food or territory, but the fear remains. We still feel it in a darkened room when we sense a presence that isn't there, in the lifeless gaze of a mannequin, in the strange twitch of a human-like robot. These are ghosts of an older world, reminders that for most of our history, seeing another upright figure in the shadows could mean death. And perhaps that's why the uncanny valley still lingers, because long ago, it kept us alive. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the eerie side of human evolution, drop a comment telling me what you think about the uncanny valley. Could it really be the echo of a world where we weren't alone? And don't forget to subscribe to Prehistoric Medievals for more fascinating journeys into our ancient past.